Hello. I'm about to debate a liberal on health. I'll call it the Obamacare, also known as what I call it Oblabla-care, because I call him Oblabla because so much of what he says is lies, and he lies so effortlessly. But I'm going to be debating Oblabla-care with a liberal, and I have his words. I didn't remove anything, and I have my words. And I will do his in a voice that, again, I'll have it on the other side of my face and using this for my words. And I don't know if I should do him in a gay accent or maybe a liberal accent. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I started off, okay. And I don't really know exactly what kind of accent I'll be doing for this guy. Yeah, I'm not going to do a Muslim accent. I mean Arabic accent, mock Arabic. I'll I'll see. Okay. Yeah. All right. What happened was what got me talking with this guy is when I came upon a video where Sarah Palin is talking to Jesus, and the liberal is putting words into both their mouths, but he's made Jesus a real liberal. You know what I mean? And so that got me talking. I said this. Putting socialist words in Jesus's mouth. The Bible wants us to take care of the poor, but we are to do it of our own will, not to have a state force us to do it like this video seems to want. What's wrong with the government helping the poor? And when did helping the poor become socialistic? There's nothing wrong with the government helping the poor, but which poor? What constitutes as the poor? To a blah blah, Muslims are poor. He gave $1.5 billion to the Muslim Brotherhood, bypassing Congress to do it. Can you imagine if he gave that amount to the Catholic Church and fed their poor with our money? And with that, he responds with, yeah. I mean welfare in general, not specific sums of money. The poor meaning the people that are unable to feed their kids and have shelter without government help. That's where Christian charity comes in. Of course, as more and more people reject Christianity, it will be up to the government to try to get people to give to the poor. The government will no doubt force people to give money to try to help those poor families. When the poor get the money, they will have more kids who will do the same and be more poor. Then when the money runs out, what will the government do with all the massive poor? It's the poor who have kids now. People need welfare to provide for their families. It's a government service that's needed to keep the poor from perishing. I don't think we should let the poor fend for themselves, and I believe it's the government's duty to protect its people. Why assume that all people will never amount to anything? Many people who use welfare want to be successful, but have no means to do it. Who is for cutting off all support for the poor? I don't even know of any conservatives who are for that. That's good then. The government should support the poor. I just think it's wrong to attack the welfare system because people truly need it. I'm for welfare myself, but not to the point where an illegal alien is living in a mansion on a hill. It was that kind of welfare that got us trillions of dollars in debt. There's no distinction between good and bad welfare. Sure, people abuse the system, But plenty of people don't and really need the money. Illegal immigrants perform all the low-end jobs no American would take. So it's not like they live luxurious lives even if they receive welfare. People shouldn't assume that welfare recipients have cushy lives because of welfare. Welfare is used for people to so people can welfare is used so people can survive. The question raised is who do you give your money to help the poor? Obama just bypassed Congress to give 1.5 billion US taxpayer dollars to the Muslim Brotherhood. Can you be sure he wouldn't try to give them more if he got in control of all your money like the liberals want? Well, I'm a liberal. And I also don't see tax spending as a major issue in politics. I think we need to focus on protecting civil liberties in this country. I like helping the poor and disadvantaged. And stop picking on the president just because he's a Democrat, relying only on private instructions for charity isn't enough. The poor need government support to survive. I haven't heard of the Muslim Brotherhood, but I feel people shouldn't be speaking so poorly of Obama because it's disrespectful. I pick on Obama not because he's Democrat, but because he's a Marxist who is all for a big government intrusion. I mean, although I'm no longer a Democrat, I'm an independent. I consider myself to be a Democrat of the JFK type. To me, there are no longer Democrats like JFK, and Republicans are now more like JFK Democrats than they are Republicans. America is becoming a socialist state, and we have Greece to see where that will lead us to. How is Obama a socialist? He's for big government intrusion. His healthcare bill, quote, you have to pass it to see what's in it, being the doorway to it. What's wrong with the government providing services like healthcare to the people? I don't understand why everyone is so against the government helping people to get healthcare. What if you are young and healthy? Do you think it's fair that you are forced to pay for healthcare or become fined? You don't see that as big government intrusion? You have no problem with that? Everyone has to go to the doctor at least once in their lives. It's not wise to avoid getting health insurance. I saw an episode of Dr. G, Medical Examiner, where a man died because he had a toothache. He never went to the doctor to get it checked because he had no health insurance. America isn't a developed nation. And its people shouldn't... America isn't a developed nation? What? And its people shouldn't be turned away from hospitals because they can't afford to get treated for their illnesses. Right. Everyone has to go to the hospital at least once in their life. Usually near the end of their lives, especially. The question I have is why does a young person have to pay for the same amount of health care like someone who needs it when that young person hardly needs it his or herself? By the way, what if you don't trust doctors and want to be your own? Young people fall under their government's insurance. Oh, young people fall under their parents' insurance. And if a young person's parents die, he or she should be able to afford health care. If you were in desperate need of a surgery, like after you were in a car crash and had to be rushed to the hospital, would you want to face an enormous bill you can't pay? I know some people don't believe in doctors, but there are too many people in the U.S. that are sickly because doctors refuse to treat them. Under Obamacare, who decides what is good for you? If you want Obamacare, we do. People die because they can't afford to go to the doctor. It's as simple as that. Since when did going to the doctor and having healthcare and having health insurance become such a bad thing? Obama also wants to get rid of pre-existing conditions, so health insurance companies will be forced to treat the people that pay them. Obama is trying to help the nation. He's given us no reason to be angry with him. Who is we? The people in America. Obama is only trying to improve healthcare for the people who can't access it. How do people in America decide what you need and don't need with Obamacare? Well, I meant the people in America. I meant the people in America want Obamacare because they can't afford their health insurance. No one wants pre-existing conditions to continue, and everyone wants to be able to afford going to the doctor. The people in America want Obamacare because they'd rather be enslaved to socialism than be without health care. Having the government help its people is not socialistic. It helps the poor and prevents them from being completely destitute. The poor in America, compared to poor people in other countries, can still provide social services, is not the same as having a socialistic government. Yes, people in America want health care. Would you want to be without health care? I'd rather have my ability to choose whether or not I want to pay health care on my own than be forced by a dictator, Obama, to buy a health care run on red tape and bureaucracy, which Obamacare will certainly be run on. By the way, if you think big government intrusion stops at health care, think again. What else will they be able to force you to buy? Maybe you have the money to choose whether or not to have health care. But the poor don't have any choice but to forego healthcare. The poor can't choose healthcare because they can't afford it. Everyone should have access to simple checkups. We're already required to buy car insurance. What's so different about this? You don't have to have a car, for one. If you're forced to buy something for your life, what will the government force you to buy later? You think it will only stop with health care that is run on red tape and bureaucracy dictating what is best for you? How can you be sure, especially when Obama lies so well? If Obama will bypass Congress to give $1.5 billion to the Muslim Brotherhood, pass a law that makes it so he can be detained if you say anything wrong about him without a trial. Well, I'll continue here. Yeah. If Obama will bypass Congress to give $1.5 billion to the Muslim Brotherhood, what other executive orders will he use to bypass Congress on to force us to buy with our own money? I'll continue this on part 2 coming up. Yeah. Bye.